Hi, everybody. Welcome to No Doctor, Just Healthy. I am not feeling good today, and I almost didn't start out because I just just didn't feel good. I get a little trouble with migraines sometimes, and they're very limited nowadays. Thank God. But it makes me think of when I started, like on all this health food stuff, or healthy food stuff, or maybe it's like the non-destructive stuff. Maybe it's that way. I mean, like, some people say, a pop is okay every once in a while. I don't think so. Pop, soda, you know, can of can of sugar with coloring added, and it's dangerous and it gangs up on people. I mean, people can have I had a few cups, back through life. I also had a few drinks back through life, and I'm recovering from all that. And sometimes I say I'm recovering from my first 70 years, you know, but I am. And anyhow, the um, the idea of healthy living didn't really strike me until I was sick enough to pay attention. And back around 1990, it was right in there, I had been having migraine headaches like one or two a week, and usually they'll take up 3 days at a session. The day before, I'm a raving lunatic, and the day of the pain is, that's the second day, and then the third day is like trying to recover from being what felt like being run over by a train. If I could ever imagine what that would be like, I'm beat up, laying in a heap, and I couldn't work, and I started living with my kids, and my son said to me one day, he says, and I gotta tell him thanks for this every time I think about it, but he said, Dad, why don't you try to do something really different, really outrageously unique, he says, you're a good planner. One of my favorite sayings is, if one thing doesn't work, try something else. So, like, if the way that I'm living is wrong, change it. Do it different. And it can do it. I changed it all of a sudden. It made sense to me when he said it. And at that time, like 1990, the Atkins diet was really, really active. I heard people talking about it all the time, and that's a really old system of eating. That goes back to 19. I don't know if it's 1910 or something. 19 teens in the teens, 19 in the teens, and it started out to cure or stop some problems with seizures in people. Their brains were not working good, and this eating system fixed it. The seizures went away. Now it turns out that it has effects on all kinds of negative brain things, And even though I have trouble with memory, and here it is today, I'm having a 20% headache. This isn't the real deal, but it does make me feel uncomfortable. And I think part of the thing is that I'm worried about it getting worse. But I'm out here, and I try to do a long video today. But the other day, I had a short that you know about the shorts on YouTube. I shoot those out every once in a while, and I'm kind of liking those. And sometimes they click, sometimes they don't. Well, this one clicked, and it was about eggs. And I was really shocked. I'm cleaning house. I'm trying to get ready for my birthday party next week, and so I was really cleaning house, and I called it spring cleaning, but I had pillars of egg cartons, you know, eggs by the dozen, cartons, and there was pillars, and I was sitting between them with my guitar, and I was trying to come up with a slogan for starting out my program. Ain't gonna happen. I am not talented like that. But this guy wrote back, and he said, in today's economy, that's $2,000 worth of eggs. And I don't know if he was looking at my pillars, and if he counted them, he could have. And I'm not electronically correct to where I can go back and count them over again. I've thrown them all out now, but I had quite a few, and they were, I don't know, 2.5 feet or 3 feet high, and I can't remember if they were like in groups of like 4, like a pillar. I'm not remember for sure, but anyways, that made me look at the fuel, the egg prices that are on going on right now, and they've been going up since 2020, and now in March they finally came back down a lot, and I'm sure it takes a minute for it to show up in stores, but that's good. I eat them all the time, and I tell you what, I have had so many positive things happen from them. Like, for instance, they are so good for us. In the past, the doctors used to say, "Oh, there's cholesterol in them. Don't eat them." And I said, no. No, we need cholesterol. Cholesterol is part of our makeup, and maybe some of the balance of things need to be adjusted, but it's okay. There's zero effect of damage from eggs, and if you go look it up, do things like ask on the internet, ask for egg side effects, egg health side effects, something like that. There's so much information out there, and as always, you need to look at them and figure out if they're worth anything or not. The people that you're listening to on the internet, like me, but I try. I'm really trying to keep people healthy, or get people to think about getting healthy, because I know a lot of older people that just accept the idea that they're going to be old and sick, and I don't think that's fun. I don't think that's fun at all. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair for a doctor to say, "Well, you're just getting older. You're going to have these aches and pains." Well, you know what? I beat things down all the time that are said to be by age, and it's funny. It takes me time to beat these things down, and I'm older when they're gone. Like, for instance, my eyes were really suffering a couple of years ago. I almost wouldn't even walk at night outside because I really couldn't see the sidewalk. Maybe right under a street light, maybe I could, but I couldn't see it. And I'd walk into low-hanging branches from trees and stuff all the time, and it really bothered me. And I was thinking, well, I'm going to end up hurting myself if I'm not here. Well, I started eating eggs. It was one of the things that I started doing, but it was all part of a restructuring of me, and it really got triggered by the idea that I was so sick, and I talk about recovering from my first 70 years. It was the doctor, who I ended up firing, but one thing that she did for me was not take care of my pre-diabetes. So I accelerated to type 2 diabetic. And it was not under her. She wasn't the only one that cared for me, but she was in part of a food system, a doctor system that I go to, and a veteran thing. And when she told me that I had made it to type 2 diabetic, she said it to me in such a way that I felt like I was going to get a trophy for making it over the line. But I took it like, holy smokes, I'm really doomed. I used to work in the VA hospital, and I used to push people to their appointments all the time in the wheelchairs and stretchers, and guys like me, not that much different than me, but they were further along in their diabetes and other things too. But my gosh, so many people have so many bad problems from diabetes and it starts with prediabetes. Prediabetes is actually working on making you fail right now if you've got it. And if you know somebody who's got it, don't let them eat up your inheritance with medical bills because they're sick. Help them get well. Help them get well. And it's so much easier to spend some money on healthy things now than it is to hope that you can fix it later. I mean, I don't want anything to do with it. But anyways, healthy is good. And what did I put up here? What is our goal? And how healthy and old can we be? And well, for me, my goal was to be able to not have my feet cut off because of sugar problems. And one thing I really don't like, like so many sugar problems go with wounds that won't heal, and they smell so bad, and they need daily coverage. They need attention all the time, and that was the kind of stuff immediately that struck me. I was like, I don't want to do that. I tell people I gave up cake to save my feet. Cake is dangerous not only because of the sugar in it, it's because of the pulverized flour and stuff. That's also not good. It's also carbohydrates. It's more sugar, but it's really hard for people. And I don't think that I'm going to have cake on my birthday because no sugar is a treat. So I won't have sugar and I'll feel better for it. And that's okay. But, I will go through that. And these little things, you can hear all these little buzzwords that I have or whatever. They actually mean something. If somebody is sick and they keep feeding the sickness by eating really bad, they will stay sick. I don't care what the doctor gives them, they will stay sick. Or they'll be completely dependent on the pharmaceutical, and that doesn't last either. But healthy lasts. So if we stop damaging ourselves, we can get better. So if you want to eat chicken, just don't eat it with breading. If you want to have French fries, just skip it. Don't. Just don't. If you really need a potato, maybe have a sweet potato once a month. Sweet potato with butter, a lot of butter in it, and cinnamon, and that's all okay. I mean, it's not great. It's just not. It's not really bad. It's got a lot of fiber in it, and it's not as starchy as regular potatoes and or as high on the glycemic index as others things. But you can have things. But myself, I eat beef all I want, and I also eat pork chops, and I eat bacon, and I eat eggs, and I'll have eggs just anytime I feel like I need a snack. And usually for me, if I feel like I need a snack, like I'm hungry or something, it's because I haven't eaten enough fat. I'm a high fat eater. Now that's okay, no problem, but it can be a problem if I add sugar to the mix. Like if I have a salad with store-bought dressing on it, it's full of sugar. That sugar can turn the saturated fat into bad fat. But saturated fat is not bad fat. It's got this bad rap though. People talk about, oh, saturated sugar is this, saturated. No, it's not bad if you don't add carbohydrates to it. Wrap it in it, or eat carbohydrates while you're eating it, or just having a piece of cake at the end of a good clean dinner turns it all bad. All of a sudden, all that saturated fat you ate well, you added sugar to it, it's bad. So kind of look that up. Put down saturated fat without sugar. Anyways, those are good things. But myself, I look at this and I'm saying, well, if I'm a lot healthier at 70, I'm going to be 78 next week. So if I'm healthier at 70 than I was at 70, then I guess I'm aging backwards. Excuse me. But if I'm healthier at 78, then it's funny. I'm just coughing. I'm like, I'm healthier. No, I'm great. But if I'm healthier at 78, I'm aging backwards. Because at 70, I was pretty darn close to being a corpse, I think. I was really, really sick. And in more ways than one. In many ways. And now I can see at night. I can run down the road, and people kind of wonder if I'm being chased or what, but I'm good. I can run. I ride an electric unicycle, which is like kind of a little sporty thing to do, but I do it. And people say, aren't you afraid of falling off? I go, well, no, actually, I've been dealing with gravity my whole life. And then I go on and I tell them, after I got a little laugh out of them, I tell them that my bone density is way above average. Oh, you're lucky, no, I'm not lucky. I do that on purpose. And your bone density doesn't mean that you can't break a bone. It's just that it's harder to break a healthy bone. And like sarcopenia, that comes along with people as they get older, and you start having trouble with muscles and giving you a chance to fall. But that is also working on your muscles. On your bone density. So things like vitamin D, and you need vitamin C to keep the collagen moving. Keep the collagen happy, and you need the collagen. I eat collagen like crazy. That's why I still look like a teenager. I hope I didn't offend anybody. Teenagers don't look like this. But anyways, I'm doing okay. But my birthday's coming up, and I hope that's one of many more that I'm going to see. And I don't have any reason to think that I'm not going to keep going. Like I just tell you, I just had a blood test before I went on my little vacation down to Florida. I was calling that the vitamin D tour. I was absorbing vitamin D. Well, before I went on vacation, my vitamin D was the highest reading the doctor had ever seen. And I'm thinking, and I asked him, is that okay? And he said, yeah, oh no, this is fantastic. And the vitamin D has so much it does that in our body, that a good vitamin D is just good for our body. I mean, it's just good for us. Well, anyways, a little while before that, I had gone to the hospital with a rapid beating heart. And I thought that it was over. Because my dad died of a heart attack way earlier than now. My mom's brother died of a heart attack way earlier than now. I mean, I've outgrown them a lot. I've known a lot of people that have died a lot earlier than me from heart attacks in my family. And then the other ones are dementia. It scares me. But right now, I'm kind of fixing all that stuff. I'm making sure that the vitamin fish oil, omega-3s need to be in our brain. It's the fat that keeps our brain working. So if somebody calls you a fathead, think of it as a compliment, because we need to have fat in our brain. And so I eat salmon, but I take a kind of an expensive supplement too. It's tuna omega-3. It's tuna omega, and it costs more, but there's two kinds of chemicals in the omega-3 that we're concerned about: DHA and EPA. EPA. Anyways, the omega's got like almost twice as much DHA. I think that's the one for the brain. Oh gosh, I forget. That's why I try not to try to do technical stuff. But anyhow, I do that to keep my my brain parts happy. And there's an actual bunch of different parts in your brain that need the fat. And that's why some people, fade out in different ways. That's because different parts of their brains are fading out. Well, mine's better. I mean, I do have this memory thing, and all that, but it's better. And I'm thinking, if I get old, I want to be real healthy till I die. And if I start getting really sick, I don't necessarily want to keep going, I don't think, because I know back when I was 70, I was sick and I didn't like anything. I didn't like life. But after I started living again, life is worth living. I think this is just a marvelous way to go. And I hope that you all get something out of this mumbling that I do. But the darn thing is that we're here. And if we don't take care of us, we're going to start suffering from being here. So be here and be happy and be well. And I'll see you at my 100-year birthday party. Okay. Good day.